I'm Yuri.
I'm going for a drive.
2021 Porsche 911 Targa 4.
1986 Porsche 911 Carrera Targa.
So why are we doing this comparison, Jacob?
Well, Yuri, we got our hands on two Porsche 911s 35 years apart, so we want to compare some of the similarities and differences.
Starting with the horsepower and torque.
That 2021 has 379 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque from a 3-liter twin-turbo boxer 6-cylinder. And this 1986 has 207 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque from a naturally aspirated 3.2-liter boxer 6-cylinder.
So I guess let's compare the speed. Ready?
And you may have noticed that I did have to use my arm to use this 5-speed manual transmission.
And this one is a PDK.
Yeah, we thought we had the manual booked, but I guess we screwed up somewhere along the lines. But anyways, the PDK is technically faster.
But manual is always more fun. And can you get a manual in a rear-wheel drive Targa like that rear-wheel drive Targa?
There is no rear-wheel drive Targa in your generation, but you can get it with a manual transmission. But I did notice that that PDK costs $6,660. Which is the exact dollar amount of the devil, 666.
Nice. Okay, so what we really want to do and start off with is comparing what is the same between these two over 35 years and what has changed.
So let's get to the most similar part, which is the Targa. So we both have the Targa roll bar.
Yeah, you can see mine is silver, yours is black, but they did have silver ones back in the day too. And we got that cool big bubble glass, and the reason a Targa exists is because America didn't think convertibles were going to last because they were sketchy. So they built these things instead.
Yeah, it was literally all about safety regulations and America specific is why these things exist.
And this new one's got an automatic one that goes up and down very quickly, but that old one, you pull out this accordion top from the front and you clip it in, which is actually not even that difficult to do.
No, it's actually fairly simple. It's nice and lightweight, stores in the front. I like it.
But there were a bunch of generations of Targa that did not look like this. I think from the mid 90s till like late 2000s, it was like the weird glass ones. The 996 one was like a glass hatchback, which I really like, but this is the good style.
Yeah, so I'm gonna overwhelm everybody with a bunch of 9s. 993, 996, and 997 all had the different top, which kind of sucked compared to these really cool tops.
And then 991 and 992 are the ones where it's back to the cool look.
And we both have a bunch of vents back there because that's where our engines are. However, my 1986 G-body is actually air-cooled, whereas yours is water-cooled.
Yeah, so I can actually sit in traffic where you got to keep an eye on that temperature gauge.
Yeah, I did have one situation where I sat in traffic for about half an hour just stressing about the temperature gauge. It did rise a bit, but eventually once I got going, no issues.
So they both also have big wings at the back. You've got the whale tail on the 86, and this one's got one that can automatically pop out, but you can also make it pop out as well.
And then tail lights, we actually both have Porsche in the middle of our taillights, which is a pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah, and the taillights both go all the way across, and then at the top of yours it says Carrera, mine says 911. But in the newer Porsches, you can pretty much get it to say whatever you want or do a full badge delete, so we could make them match.
And our exhausts look a little bit different. I got a dinky one on the side over here.
And then I got dual exhaust, and then in Sport, I get a little bit of backfires. How about you, Jacob?
Let me just turn this into Sport Plus. Let me just turn the traction off. Okay, ready. That doesn't sound like anything actually, Yuri. This is a really quiet car.
But it is pleasant. It's like a nice raw feeling where this feels like, okay, fake burbles and stuff, like whatever.
But let's take a listen to the outside. The 86 sounds really smooth in comparison to that new one. Like, you can hear the downpipe, you can hear the turbochargers, you can hear all that stuff, but this one's just silky smooth.
Bro, I got a friggin' rev limiter. We both still have little North American bumperettes.
Yeah, mine are a little bit larger on the 86.
Okay, and then we both still have Targa written on our Targa tops, and the cool thing is, it's still the same font from all those years ago.
Yeah, so shout out to the designer for the Targa font, which has carried on till now.
Yeah, pretty much like the Carrera Everything Porsche font. And then overall body shapes, they both still look like 911s, which is pretty awesome that it hasn't changed that much, but the new one's a lot wider.
Yeah, elephant in the room, it's Yuri in the 992.
Oh, because it's bigger?
Yep.
Okay. But height-wise, like, we're pretty much the same height still, which is cool.
Yeah, I think mine's actually a little bit taller, but it's definitely a lot narrower. And this is not a wide body version of this. You could get it with a wide body, but I think it looks pretty nice like this.
And then if we look at the wheels, they are both different. I really like your classic style ones, but I don't think they make them like that for the new ones unless you go to augmented wheels.
Yeah, we have the classic Fuchs wheels on this one, which was also on the turbo, but on your new one, you got 20s and 21s in the back, and they do look really nice. They're the RS Spider wheels.
And what would be the Continental recommended tire for a 911 Targa?
The Continental Sport Contact 6 and the Extreme Contact Sport.
And then moving on to the front end, we still have a frunk on both of them, but there's definitely so much more room in the 992. You can actually fit 2 carry-on bags.
And there's pretty much no room in the 86 once you have the Targa top in there.
But then if we move on to the headlights, pretty much the same style headlights, except now with LEDs, I got the 4 dots and you just have the circles.
Yeah, these are just so classic. This is one of the best generations of the 911, and I really love these headlights.
And then we also still have the Stuttgart Porsche crest on both of these, but the one on the old one looks slightly different, slightly more old.
Yeah, shout out Stuttgart.
And then there's radiators on the front of this 992 Porsche, and then this one also has the sport bumper, where the last Targa we drove did not have that.
Yeah, and I have no radiators up front and no radiators in general.
So now let's talk about the drive differences a little bit before we switch it up, talk about the interiors, go to Cliche Corner and back, and both decide that we like the older 911 Targa more.
Okay, so driving experience, best part of this. I should also mention that this 1986 is the same year that Yuri and I were born. It's so cool to drive something from the year we were born because it's so different than everything around now. 35 doesn't feel that old. We are getting a little bit older, but it's crazy to see what came out that year. You feel literally the coolest driving this, like unbelievably cool. Everybody stares at you and you have instant respect.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I feel like you're putting in a lot of work and you're like concentrated on the car the whole time, where this is like the easiest thing. I can literally mash my foot, turn the wheel, get around a corner with like half my, like being half awake.
Yeah, and I do have to shift this 5-speed. The shifter is so long and hilarious to use, so I'm gonna downshift right now. Perfect rev match, and send it. It's not very quick, but it's also not the slowest. It kind of reminds me of a current gen Miata, but a little bit faster and more torquey.
It's expensive, pain in the ass, cooler Miata.
And this thing really loves to be revved. Over 4,000 RPM, just sings.
Yeah, it actually feels like it has some good power. It's definitely more fun and engaging to drive, where this is just like super easy cruise control.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing that's cool about it is we don't have power steering, so you actually have to wrestle this thing around corners.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like, oh, you feel the road. It's like what you're feeling is just the steering wheel bouncing back from every little thing that happens in that, because it's like such an old car.
And they did an incredible job on the suspension on this car, because yes, this has been basically fully restored, and we'll get to that in a little bit later, but oh my God, this feels like a modern car. Like, it makes my 1987 Ford Mustang GT feel like a tractor.
Yeah, but what about a mint 1987 Ford Mustang GT? I feel like that might feel better than that.
Yeah, it was a $5,000 car after all, or $3,800 US dollars.
Okay, so let's switch it up, talk about the interior, head over to Cliche Corner, and finish it up.
Normally I would launch this car right now, but Yuri doesn't have launch control, so I'm just gonna floor it. Doesn't even feel like it's from the same company.
And since this isn't my personal car, I'm not gonna beat it up, so I'm just gonna roll in the power. Still pretty quick for an old car. So Jacob, how did we even get this?
Porsche Center North Toronto actually offered it to us, so thank you very much to them. It was part of their 2020 Dealership Restoration Challenge, where they actually competed with other dealerships in restoration of old 911s.
Yeah, you can see some of their stuff on their YouTube channel, how they restored it, and somebody traded it into them, and that's why they had it. So hey, if you're a fan of the Straight Pipes and you're watching this and you want to trade in your old cool car, sell it to us. We'll take care of it, we'll make videos, we'll restore it ourselves. Sell us your old cool cars.
We promise we'll take really good care of your old cars.
For a good price, please.
Yes, definitely the good price, that's a key. The G-Body is very desirable. Everybody wants that one right now. But they were actually so highly produced. They're around 200,000 units in total, which is actually very comparable to the 997 generation. So they're actually not that rare, even though they're kind of pricey because everybody wants them right now.
Yeah, there's like this whole air-cooled Porsche tax. And to be honest, like I thought they were cool as a kid, but it's not like fully, like I don't fully get it. It didn't mean too much to me growing up.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I realize how cool it is now, but I didn't at the time.
So now moving on to this interior, I've got my center mounted tack, which is perfect. It's got a bright orange needle, and I've got 5 little bubbles all together for my gauge cluster. How about you?
I don't even know where to begin, Yuri. We do have a center tack, which is analog, so that's pretty much the only thing that carried over. We do have 5 bubbles, but 4 of them are now digital. And Yuri, what about your infotainment? Do you have Apple CarPlay? Because I definitely do in the new one.
I actually do have Apple CarPlay in this 86 with the updated Porsche radio.
Yeah, you do, in the world's smallest screen, but it's really cool that you have it.
Hey, Porsche is known for their very tiny infotainment Apple CarPlay screens, pretty much the same size in both of these.
But it's really cool because it just looks like an old screen, but it's got modern tech.
Yeah, and like you can talk on your phone, like I can play my iTunes and stuff. It's legit perfect. And then seating wise, it is a 4-seater in both with no room in the back of either.
And Yuri, you've been sitting in that car for so long, and I don't know how you've been surviving without any gloss black.
Oh, dude, the fact that there's no gloss black in here, it's so not premium. I would never imagine wanting to own one of these. Sarcasm.
We have a ton of gloss black in this interior. I am thoroughly enjoying the cooled seats in this one.
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of car that you just enjoy when the weather is nice and you don't drive it every single day unless you're like extra cool.
But it is nice to not have leather seats in that one, just on the outsides, because you just boil with leather seats in that car. This one, leather cooled, all good. And something that my Porsche has that yours doesn't have, air conditioning and paddles.
Yo, I don't even know if this has heat because it's air cooled, and like, doesn't it run off a little rad in the glove box? Like, how does this even work?
Well, it is pretty cool how you actually control the climate. You have a weird knob down between the seats, and then you also have your adjustment up at the front.
And then steering wheel wise, I've got Porsche written on my steering wheel, but it's a completely different shape, completely new world.
And I do have 2 cup holders in here, which do pass the small cup of coffee test.
Yeah, I got nothing in here, which actually kind of sucks because I really like cup holders.
And I do have adjustable suspension on the new one. I have adjustable exhaust. I can do everything through the infotainment. I have buttons on the steering wheel, and there's none of that in that.
Yeah, which is like so refreshing. It's all on you. And then some other weird stuff. So this shifter and these pedals, the clutch is bottom mounted. Everything feels really weird. The pedal placement's kind of tricky to heel toe downshift, but I found that if I put the brake pedal more in the center of my foot, then I can heel toe downshift a lot easier. But this flywheel is so light that the revs drop like instantly.
Yeah, you do have to slam the gears kind of quickly because those revs drop so fast, but shifting that transmission is pretty fun. However, in 1987 and above, they got the more desirable G50 transmission. That one's a little bit older style.
Yeah, and I've just been shifting it slower and giving a nice blip between every gear.
And we should probably check the visors, Yuri.
3, 2, 1.
Fail.
Just as bad, I guess. Mine just doesn't go sideways.
This gets more of a pass, but still fail.
Okay, I got an idea. Put yours into comfort in auto.
Normal. I'll put it into wet.
And I'm going to be in second gear, and we're going to rip it at the same time. Ready?
Oh, all right.
I had
Very
you for
respectable.
like 2 seconds. All right, time to rip it through cliche, switch it up, and come to our conclusion.
Where we obviously decide the old one's better.
100%. All right, S is into cliche corner. I'm only going to give it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to give it even less than you because I'm just going to let you lead.
And through the S's, it feels a little loose and sketchy. Nothing near as planted as a new one.
And sending it into cliche corner using these paddles, this is just cheater mode in the new one.
And that downshift was a little bit hairy because it's tricky to line up and it got a little squirrely, and I'm not going to really push it.
And I'm really not pushing it in this, and I'm just keeping up.
Yeah, this is more of a get it through operation, and not in 1986 anymore. I'm not pushing the boundaries of technology. I just want to keep it on the road.
Yeah, and even though that thing's been fully reconditioned, it's fully reconditioned to 1986 standards, not 2021.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of missed my downshift there. It got a little squirrely. I'm sure if it was my car, I'd be more used to it, but I'm really not.
So let's switch it up and put me back into that beauty.
Cooled seats, modern conveniences, launch control.
My car looks cooler.
But that's not your car, it's Porsche North Toronto's car.
But if any of our subscribers have something similar, maybe they'll sell it to us for a good price and I'll have one of these.
Yeah, sell it to the TheStraightPipes dealership / hoarders. That'll be us, we'll just hoard them all.
If anyone's got a 930 turbo that they want to sell us for cheap, yeah, hit us up.
Literally anything for a good price that's not a scam, we're down.
All right, so let's do a little heel toe downshift. the Classic, and I did also screw it up because my foot doesn't fit, and my God, the steering is so heavy, no power steering.
And this Porsche is so easy. Like, I feel like I'm not even going through a corner at all, and I'm on your bumper the whole time.
Oh yeah, this thing is so well balanced. You can get the back end out just a little bit, but I don't want to risk it much more than that. There is some body roll to this old one, obviously, in comparison to that new one, but I love the balance of this car.
With modern cars, you know how there's the whole thing, it's like I'm going fast without realizing I'm going fast? That actually feels like you feel everything in that old Targa.
And that one still understeers, whereas this one doesn't really understeer because it's still rear-wheel drive.
So I guess now to end it off, we should probably get to the price.
So that 2021 is sitting at $165,380.
Canadian.
And this 1986 is actually currently priceless and not for sale.
Yes, they haven't put a price on it yet at Porsche Center, North Toronto. They might keep it, but I asked some other people and they say something like that goes for about $70,000 to $80,000 Canadian. And if you're shopping for a new Porsche 911 and you live in the United States, there's a discount when using the TheStraightPipes link.
You can also shop for used Porsche 911s using TrueCar. And if you live in Canada, we have a Car Help Canada link below as well.
So Jacob, you could only have one of these to take home with you for the rest of your life. Which one would it be? In 3, 2, 1, that one.
This old one.
And the fact that you can't get this in rear wheel drive and manual is the biggest reason why you should get an old one. Because I think we've got like 5 years left of manual gasoline cars.
No, we got more time than that for sure.
But the time is running out. Every purchase that offers manual should be a manual from now on. I think that should be a new rule for all straight pipers.
Yes, and naturally aspirated if you can find it still.
And rear wheel drive over all wheel drive.
Yes, because we hate modern connected cars and we love old school disconnected cars because you feel connected to the car.
Yeah, but like if you had to drive this year round, this would be like a lot easier.
Oh yeah, this would be a huge pain to drive year round.
But realistically, if you're buying a newer 911 Targa, you should probably also buy an older one because you probably have enough money.
And realistically, if you're buying something you want a daily, you're gonna end up with that new one anyways.
But that old one just looks so much better and it's so much cooler. But let us know in the comments below, is it worth it to get an older one instead of a new one and deal with all the hassles, but be that cool guy with the old 911?
And subscribe and hit the bell for more new versus old comparisons because we love doing these things.